Hi, Karl.
It's Adam.
What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Not much.
Are you as tired as I feel?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm working on that.
Absolutely am.
I'm working on that Ghost Energy drink sponsorship for you, just so you know.
I'm going to say, since I've had it up for 3 weeks, that's a lie, and I'm very disappointed that you'd lie to me.
I wouldn't lie to you. I'm just early. I'm never wrong, just early, right, Karl?
Yeah, according to the Case Keenum theory, then you're absolutely correct on that.
What are you talking about with Case Keenum? What's going on with Case Keenum?
So little birdie told me that you were suspecting that they would be signing a veteran quarterback, and the only option was Case Keenum. Well, guess what? It happened.
Give me my roses, man. I've got some Twitter haters. You know that I have an abrasive personality. Hey, speaking of like the bear down shirt, I think this is either made by a man in his garage, or it's made by like little kids in Indonesia, and we're gonna be tariffing Indonesia. So it's one or the other. It's one or the other. So we're not trading Bajent. We're not trading Bajent.
That's a really interesting comment,
happening.
Chris76. He says, trade Bajent for a 5th or a 6th after what you just saw Joe Milton go for? Now, if you want to talk about Bajent being lucky to make this roster in 2025, that's a valid discussion. But
okay, so why do you think I would have said, so those who don't know, on Twitter, I posted Hogs and Johns, however you say it. Hogue and Johns, that's what it is. I have my plurality mixed up on their names. Hogue and Johns had an interview with Poles, and they talked directly about bringing on a veteran quarterback this year. That probably a big mistake they didn't do last year is having someone, because you got multiple people. And who's the Lions quarterback coach we brought over?
OSU himself, JT Barrett.
JT Barrett. It's been a long day.
So JT Barrett, it's definitely JT Barrett.
JT Barrett. So we brought him over. We've got obviously Ben Johnson, and then you've got Caleb here, and they just wanted to bring in a vet presence. So in Hogan Johns with The Athletic, they decided to interview Ryan Poles, and he talked about how we need to bring in a vet presence. So when that happened, you guys know me, you know the salary cap, you know how in depth I do that crap. I said on Twitter, there's literally only one option here for vet experience plus the cost that we can afford to sign. Everybody's like, Joe Flacco, we're getting Joe Flacco. I said, zero chance we're getting Joe Flacco. So I said, it's Case Keenum. That's the only one. Just deductive reasoning going down the list. This guy works well with others. He's had a variety of people he's worked with, including Pat Mahomes, I think. So he's the only one that made sense. And I said, it's going to be Case Keenum. Lo and behold, 5 hours later, it's Case Keenum. We signed Case Keenum, guys. And no, it's not a garbage signing. He's got tons of experience working with tons of different players. In fact,
that was what one of my quabbles with the roster last year was that we decided to let go of Rippon, and he got picked up by the Vikings.
I like Rippon too.
We had arguably the youngest quarterback room in the entire NFL, literally with 2 rookies, one of them being a starter, and then Bajent, who is an undrafted free agent the prior year. So you had 1 year of experience between your 3 quarterbacks in the room.
Yeah, that's pretty rough go. Let's hurry and bring this up so you guys can see what we're talking about. This is very rough. We're on the fly because this just happened.
It's literally this Case Keenum, the hero from Minnesota. That's crazy.
What do you mean this Case Keenum? There's only one Case Keenum. Case Keenum's the man.
But in 2017, he's the guy who threw the Minnesota Miracle, to my understanding. Like, that's crazy that's our backup quarterback now.
Are you reading the same thing I am right here?
No, I'm just looking at NFL.com, his player history.
Oh, so it's right here on Wikipedia. I just pulled up here the career history on the side. So that's on the screen. It should be anyways. Is it on the screen? It's not. Let me bring it up. My goodness.
Noah Amin says, QB3 at best. I like Tyson Bajent at QB2. This is not a competition move. I mean, obviously, we've seen a scenario recently where the Bears signed, who is that guy from the Panthers? I forgot his name. And he got beat out by Bajent. So weirder things have happened, but I don't know, man. This feels like a really good presence in the room for a rookie head coach, a young coaching staff.
It's got nothing to do with Case Keenum coming in to compete. He's on his second. I saw someone on Twitter put on there, what happens if Caleb Williams doesn't work out. Do we trade him after this year? And I literally had to go, oh my gosh, like we're in year 2. You guys gave Justin Fields 3 years. I gave Justin Fields 3 years. I was willing to give Justin Fields 4 years. We can't give freaking Caleb Williams 3-4 years. I mean, and he's already proved that he's the best quarterback we've had in my lifetime, at least since I've watched the Bears, since I've been a diehard fan since my teenage years. So anyways, so yeah, this is not a competition signing, not even competition with Tyson Bagent. And if anybody needs a dose of reality, Tyson Bagent's probably here next year just because he's going to be a restricted free agent. We can sign him for dirt cheap and he already knows the system. Tyson Bagent would not garner any trade value whatsoever. Zero. Bubkiss. We would not be able to trade Tyson Bagent. Yes, that's my opinion, but you listen around the league outside of Bears world, and that's how the rest of the league feels. That's how everybody else feels. So,
well, Adam, to corroborate your story, we just saw Joe Milton get traded. What was it, a 5th and a 7th? Is that what they
swap? It was a pick swap, 7th for a 5th. So they gave up a 7th and Joe Milton and got a 5th back.
That's nothing. And Joe Milton
is on a rookie contract with 3 years left.
Joe Milton is apples to oranges with Bagent. Joe Milton has a lot of talent.
They
told you how much they value Bagent, and you're right. He's got zero trade value.
Yeah. So here's what you were saying. This is just Wikipedia, guys. We're just doing this on the fly because it just happened. So after starter Sam Bradford was injured, Keenum came in and had a career year, setting highs and starts. To my understanding, we can pull it up here in a second. I think he started this year and the next year, actually. So I think he started 2 years for Minnesota. Maybe it was just one.
He only played the year with Minnesota in 2017 and was let go
pretty
afterwards.
I'm pretty sure
he
he
went
was
to the Broncos in 2018.
Maybe he started but maybe he started for the. We'll pull it up. So, anyways, followed by a last-second win known as the Minneapolis Miracle over the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs. Following that, Keenum played for the Denver Broncos, Washington Redskins, Cleveland Browns, Buffalo Bills, and Texans. So he's been behind Josh Allen too. He's known for being a journeyman quarterback by having played for 11 different NFL teams. Let's just pull up his
I just pulled up NFL.com in the StreamYard.
Keenum. Well, I'm going to pull up the
James
PFF.
Horner says Austin Reed 2 practice squad. He was already on the practice squad.
He was on the practice squad last year, yeah.
So I think Austin Reed is to the unemployment office.
He'll be on the practice. I think he'll be on the practice squad.
I think Bagent is very likely to make the practice squad, and he could just get let go.
I'd be shocked if we didn't. I'd be shocked if we didn't carry all 3. And the way Ryan Poles talked about Bagent in that interview where he says we're bringing in some depth, we're going to carry 3 on the 53-man roster in the quarterback position.
I thought they would do that last year, and they didn't. But obviously, this is a new coaching staff. So
you're talking Austin Reed compared to bringing in Case Keenum for veteran presence.
Straight up let go of
Brett Rippon's not the same as Case Keenum either. Brett Rippon's definitely
it's similar. The role that they'll play, not the talent.
Why is Case Keenum? Am I spelling his name wrong in PFF here? Wrong. Case Keenum, right?
Keenum.
Yeah. By position. We're just going to find him. We're going to find him. We're going to do this thing. Screw it. We're going to find it. Present. Share screen.
A-Rod Allen, I'm not sure if I agree with that. Suggesting that Bagent would have the exact same output in San Francisco that Brock Purdy did. I'm not sure about that one.
Quarterback. All right, this sharing. Okay, we got to find him somehow. It's not pulling up. PFF might be overloaded because everyone's looking for Case Keenum. Case. There we go. Ken. There we go. Found him. So here's Case Keenum. Wasn't starting there. We got to go to a year where he's finally starting. So passing.
2018.
Yeah, so Denver and Minnesota is only 2 years starting. 3,800 yards, 3,500 yards. But we're not really caring about that anyways. Then he got some significant time in Washington the year after that. But he's played in Houston, LA, Minnesota, Denver, Washington, Cleveland, Houston, and Buffalo. So coming in for his veteran presence is what it is. He's coming in to basically be a coach on the roster. Another guy that can help out with JT Barrett and Ben Johnson and whoever else the other ones are. They're there to help him. So yeah, you can't deny that though, Muck. Bagent has a ton of swagger. You can't teach swagger. We do like his swagger. We like our Bagent. We're not dissing Bagent. Don't take it as that. This is from ESPN. Is this what you got here for me? Let's remove this one.
No, this is just the NFL.com.
NFL.com.
All of his stats. It's essentially the exact same stuff that you were just showing, and it's very, very small and segmented. But he only had the 2 years.
JC1 says we can free up one position by eliminating the long snapper since we have commit. I love it.
It sounds like it's the same flavor of person who is mocking Travion Henderson to the Bears at 10th overall. Just total silliness.
Oh, I can't take half these. I felt like I should do some more mock drafts, but I've made it perfectly clear how I feel about where we stand with the mock drafts, and I'm almost burned out. I need the draft here, Karl. That's what I need. I need the draft here. I need it here.
No,
I need it to be done.
Absolutely. There's so many different scenarios. At this point, you're just splitting hairs. Like, one of the first mocks that I did, I really, really liked, and at that point, I've just seen them get worse and worse, and just so skewed. So,
I think a lot of people are going to be shocked when we don't take what they think at 10. I think 90% of the fan base think it's going to be an offensive lineman or Ashton Genty, and when we take either Tyler Warren or a defensive lineman, it's going to shock a lot of this fan base. I wonder if people are going to boo on mock night.
Drafting Tyler Warren would be the beginning of the end. That would just be such a nonsensical draft pick, in my opinion, to put it blunt. I'm sorry.
Did you not hear Ben Johnson talk about him, though? Like, even if you don't agree with it, did you hear Ben Johnson?
What that boils down to is a brand new head coach in the NFL who's very bright, realizing that anything negative that he would say could plummet lots of millions of dollars from the kid's bank account. He's never going to say anything bad in a public space. Of
course he's not, but he elaborated. He was very excited about him. It was not just, oh, this is a good kid. Hey, he'll be fine. He'll get drafted. It was him full on elaborating. This is a weapon. This is a guy. They compared him to Jahmyr Gibbs. And a lot of people don't realize still, they passed up Bijan Robinson to be able to draft Jahmyr Gibbs. They saw more of a weapon, and they labeled Tyler Warren a weapon. So they see him as a weapon, Karl, as much as you might not like it.
Relentless Mikey might have a solid point here. He says it's lying season, a.k.a. pushing up the muck that you don't want to draft so that Mason Graham gets down to you at 10.
Anything is possible, and this is why I need the draft F in here. Like, I need it here like I need breath of air, like I need water. Like, I need the draft here fast because two things with that, Karl. Tyler Warren is a weapon. Whether you agree with the pick or not, it's I've said this all the way back to December and January.
There's a gadget weapon.
There's a way higher ability or possibility of us drafting Tyler Warren than Ashton Genty. I said that,
and I think that's where you're getting your feet stuck in. You're digging in, right? Like this tight end is better than Ashton Genty, and I'm close to agreeing with you. I don't care, but both picks just don't make sense. Talk about drafting a running back at 10th overall being arrogant. That would be the exact same, you could apply the same logic to a tight end at 10.
I'm not sure how you just spun that, but we're going to roll with it. But we also don't have a wide receiver 3, and you can say Olamide Zaccheaus is, but you've got so many possibilities with a 12 personnel set and 2 tight ends, and we need another tight end. So the fact is the fact. We have to have another tight end, and I'm not opposed to taking Mason Taylor later.
Right, no, this is the exact same logic. I think that the running backs are deeper than the tight ends, but it's the same concept, right? Talented tight ends at the very tippy top. Still really talented guys going into day 2, and that's where I think you have to strike.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but tight ends are more valuable than running backs as far as the weapons to help your quarterback be a passing quarterback in the league, right?
But it would be addition by subtraction. I think that Cole Kmet's a better tight end 1 than DeAndre Swift is a running back 1.
Do you think we have to have one or the other? You don't think they'd have 12
I think that there's only
sets
one ball to be thrown on offense. So if you're drafting a tight end who's going to be a gadget player and you're going to throw the ball, you're either going to be designing gadgets to get the ball out of your fantastic quarterback's hands, or you're going to be throwing the ball to the 10th overall tight end who is subtracting away from the value that you have in Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet could be a very highly paid tight end 2 in the NFL. It's fine, but that's suck in my opinion. I would much rather get a more talented receiving tight end option in day 2. Whether that's Arroyo, Mason Taylor, God forbid Colson Loveland falls all the way to 39. I'll make the damn pick for myself at that point, but it won't happen.
You know, my favorite is Kenneth Grant. Well, if Mason Graham's not there, Mason Graham's my number 1. But my favorite is Kenneth Grant there at 10. I think you need to brace yourself that it's very possible the Bears could take Tyler Warren with the way they view him.
Nothing would surprise me. I just listened to a video on Bears Country Productions from 8 months ago where we were talking about how there was zero likelihood of Eberflus being fired. You were on that video. You said that it was likely he could get fired if they didn't make the playoffs. These things happened. So if they take a tight end at 10 and Warren is that guy and he's special, nothing will surprise me. But what I said specifically was that it would be the beginning of the downfall because it would just be a nonsensical pick in my opinion.
Hard strike opposition on that one. Not beginning of the downfall. There's clear vision if you do that. If you we're going to get off track today, guys. Clearly, we're going to get off track, but this is where we are 3 weeks before the draft. These are the discussions everyone's having when it comes to the draft and the Bears. Is it fair to say with Geno Smith's extension, the Raiders are probably not picking a quarterback in the first round? Did you see Geno Smith?
That's fair, and I think that's an indictment on how terrible these quarterbacks in this draft class are.
Yeah, I think you're going to see
actually awful.
I think you might only see 2 quarterbacks taken in the first round. You really might.
You'd be lucky to see that.
You might see all these teams waiting 2nd, 3rd, 4th round to pick these quarterbacks up.
And I'll repeat what I said to you on Twitter. I say everything half jokingly because I'm always trying to make myself laugh, but the likelihood of any of these quarterbacks in the 2025 NFL draft getting a second contract in the NFL is so extremely low. These guys suck.
I agreed with that too. The only one that has and my way of we didn't talk about this beforehand, guys. This is my way of comparing Cam Smith though as the best likelihood is I would compare Cam Smith, and I'm not saying it's the same level, but
are you saying Cam Ward?
Cam Ward. Sorry.
Thank you.
So much going through my head. Thank you for correcting that. Cam Ward. I would say it's the same likelihood as Anthony Richardson. No, they're not the same player. No, they're not the same accuracy. I get that. But that's the kind of level of talent of this draft. Your best quarterback in this draft is kind of like that draft's Anthony Richardson, where he might perform, but there's a big if in my head if I'm a team taking him that this is a guy we're taking a shot with. We're taking a flyer on him.
The comp that I heard for I can't remember these guys. If it was maybe it was Shedeur Sanders, but maybe just say go along the lines of comparing Cam Ward to Teddy Bridgewater as far as the quality of quarterback, right? You're going to spend the first overall pick on a quarterback whose ceiling is the 24th best quarterback in the entire NFL and can only be a journeyman from the rest of his career. That would be suicide. I think that passing on Abdul Carter in a terrible quarterback draft class, if you're the Titans, immediately, if you don't get super lucky, everything's fired.
Yeah, so. I think this is one of those drafts that could surprise everybody, 1 through 10. You could see some big surprises happening. All right, just to hit the main news here, guys. Case Keenum is the backup, the journeyman quarterback coming in to help Caleb Williams. No, it does not. If you listen to Hogue and Johns, man, I'm going to get it right before the end of the show. If you listen to Hogue and Johns, I will get it right.
You can go the Dan Orlovsky route and call him Adam Hoagie. I'd prefer that.
Adam Hoagie. This is not replacing Tyson Bagent. Tyson Bagent is the backup quarterback. I think if you had someone come into the game because Caleb gets hurt, heaven forbid, knock on wood. That's literal knocking on wood. If that happened, I do believe it would be Tyson Bagent that came in. I don't think Case Keenum would come in, but Case Keenum is there to help both Tyson Bagent and Caleb Williams, more so Caleb Williams. But this is just a depth piece to help. And I did call this one. I called it because he's the only one that made sense with the salary cap, with his experience, with his reputation of helping other quarterbacks, of being a journeyman. He's the only one that made sense. So I think it's a smart move by the Bears. It was a quality signing. Up to $3 million, I think it said, if he hits certain parameters. What was that?
Just a quick thumbs up. Yeah, $3 million is the max in incentives. I just want to point out Alan Pena in the comments. He's saying that Cole Kmet was inconsistent last year. No, his targets were inconsistent. So according to StatMuse, Cole Kmet in 2023, which is considered like his breakout year, right? He had 90 targets. Yeah. Guess how many targets he had in 2024? He had 55.
Did you see?
Okay, that's a big discrepancy. What's his career average? His career average is 72. So it's not that he was inconsistent. The fucking play calling was inconsistent. That's why I think that taking a tight end so high is just stupid.
Even worse was Gerald Everett. So down here at the parallel to Karl's face is 47 receptions this year on 55 targets. So his reception percentage was a record high. He caught more receptions than ever compared to the targets he got, 85.5%, but he was just targeted significantly less. So.
Are you suggesting that our tight end one should be catching the ball and not focusing on blocking? And don't get me wrong, he's damn good at blocking as tight end one. But your tight end one should not be a fucking primary blocker.
Karl, Keenan Allen's gone. I don't know if you knew this or not, but we need a wide receiver 3. When you take a Tyler Warren, you now have 4 targets. You need 4 targets.
Tyler Warren is a gadget guy. If you're looking for a wide receiver 3 as a pseudo tight end 2, just fucking take Colson Loveland at 10. I promise you, Colson Loveland, if utilized properly, could accumulate 1,200 yards in his rookie year. He's a much better receiver than Tyler Warren. If that's the route
he is a gadget guy, but he's going to be able to line up and Wildcat. You're going
and he's going to get fucking stuffed by Chris Jones, and we're going to get screwed. He's an okay player. Tyler.
I love Karl, but
I told you. I didn't know what was going to happen on camera today. Tyler Warren would be the beginning of the downfall. Let me tell you.
I love you, but we're going to disagree on this one, so we're going to move on.
And that's fine. That's fine.
Did you see the other 2 signings we had today?
Yeah, I mean, some guys, as Steve Smith would call them, some Jags, but Miles Boykin is a guy who, if there's ever a player you sign off the street who's going to impress you, Miles Boykin could be that guy. Boykin, we've got a really good coaching staff to bring that out of Miles Boykin.
That's true. Miles Boykin, to me, replaces Colin Johnson, in my opinion. He's that big wide receiver that can block, that can really get those contested catches as well. 43.5-inch vert at his combine, however many years ago that was. He's a big guy, 6'3", 6'4", 220 pounds. We kind of knew Colin Johnson wasn't coming back when we gave up his number. They gave his number away to one of the new guys. So you gotta give me who you're thumbing up to here.
I don't want to keep interjecting, so I
thought you were looking at you're good at looking at the comments in the side, and I don't do that as much.
What I'll do is I'll try and talk to everyone in the chat.
Look at Mikey.
I know. That's why I said I'm out of line today, Adam. I admitted my faults. I'm confessing my sins live on pod.
Give us 5 Hail Marys and you'll be fine. I wonder if Randall Hill asked it. Hey, I would actually agree, JC1. I'm gonna bet Antoine Randall Hill had some say in this signing. They've got a list of the guys that they want. And if you guys missed that with Ryan Poles, he talked about how we can't, and Ben Johnson, it's funny because Ben Johnson said we can't have all 6'4", 6'5" guys on the roster talking about wide receivers. Said you got to have, a basketball team, a point guard, a center, different guys. So it's kind of funny we signed another 6'4" guy. That's actually pretty hilarious. I hadn't put that together. But you know that the coaches have a lot of input on these different players. So there's Miles Boykin. You can see he hasn't done much. The bottom left there shows his receptions. What is that? A total of, I can't even see. Not many over his career. A lot of hype coming in. He's a local guy. He went to Providence Catholic High School in New Lenox, Illinois. Went to Notre Dame for college, and then he was picked in the 3rd round, near the end of the 3rd round, by the Ravens, and traded by the Ravens for, I think, peanuts. I don't remember. It was way back in the day. I bet it was a 7th rounder, something cheap, to the Steelers, and then he just did absolutely nothing with the Steelers, and the Steelers ended up letting him go, and then he's been on practice squads with the Giants and the Seahawks since, and now we're giving him a shot, basically doing the same thing, bringing him into the 90-man roster.
Yeah, so, if Pittsburgh can't get anything out of a wide receiver, that wide receiver's probably dead in the water. But again, I'll hold out faith if it's a guy that I think this coaching staff is fantastic. If a guy like Randall L is banging the table, bringing these guys in, I'm all for it. End of the day, it might just be a camp body, and that's fine, but give him a shot.
Agreed. And then we have Sean Wade, who I'd never even heard of, if I'm going to be frank honest with you.
Ohio State. Adam, is this a joke? Is this April Fool's? Jeez, I'm just kidding. But
look at the blue and yellow behind him. Look at that blue and yellow behind him. That's from the Chargers. So he's with the Chargers last year. It says he wasn't on the practice squad, so he must have been on the 53. He just never saw any time. In 2024, he has no official stats. And
I saw someone was on the practice squad. I don't know if it was Boykin or Wade, but I thought that Wade was on the practice squad.
Yeah, if you look at the bottom right on this, it shows the asterisk if they were only a practice squad player. He got drafted by the Ravens and then sent to their practice squad as a 5th rounder. He just didn't make the cut. And then the Patriots stole him from the practice squad of the Ravens, had him for 3 years, and then he signed with the Chargers. And apparently he was on the 53-man roster, but kind of like Tyler Scott this last year. He's on the 53-man roster, but never sees the field, So
Tyler Scott, I would love to see how many snaps he had on special teams because, especially towards the end of the year, I saw him start to make an impact. So, unfortunately, it sounds like Tyler Scott's role is starting to degrade into kind of a special teamer, at best. But again, coaching staff, hopefully we can revive that. But someone in the chat earlier asked about drafting a wide receiver. I sure hope they do. This coaching staff needs bodies to mold. I don't want them to draft a wide receiver at 10 if McMillan deservingly falls to 10. I don't want the Bears to do something stupid. But go out and get like a Pat Bryant 5th, 6th, 7th round. Get some Jags in here and let's see what we can do.
You might even see like a 6th, 7th rounder, like that Efton Chisholm kid who killed it at not the Senior Bowl, but at what was it called? The other one, the Shrine Bowl. At the Shrine Bowl, he killed it from Eastern Washington. Options are limited. We're going to go through the roster in here in just a second. So let's get through some Karl, I just noticed you didn't link it to your channel today. I can't even.
That's correct because I worked until 5:30 and then took a shower and all of a sudden it was 5:55. So just no time today. That's fine.
Well, those who haven't subscribed to Karl, if you look in the what do you call it? The description of this episode, I linked all Karl's stuff, including BCP, and we had to be the fluffer for BCP again today. So go check him out.
We're playing our role, Adam. We're doing a good job at it too.
Yeah, we're doing a good job. 181 in the chat right now, so appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Right, here's the updated dates. NFL owners meeting just ending up. It actually went into the second with the owners, but the coaches and GMs left yesterday, the first. So that's why I put there. And now we have top 30 visits going on. The newest edition, we'll get to the entire list there, but the newest edition, I didn't change the name. Addison West. I was doing this last second where I put one of these together. I do my draft prospect profiles. I haven't released this one. I'm going to do it soon, so I didn't change the name for my last one, which was JT Tuamalo. So Addison West, Western Michigan, interior offensive lineman is the newest one for our top 30 visits. So I'll have that prospect profile out very soon. So we have those going on right now, top 30 visits. And then the 7th, so 4 days from right now, is when Ben Johnson gets to meet with the team, when he gets to give them his big hoorah speech. I hope we'll hear something about it. It'll be fun to hear. I mean, he basically said he's going to basically tell them last year was the past. It's gone. We're moving forward. This is a whole new team, a whole new opportunity, blah, blah, blah. So 16th is the top 30 visit deadlines. The restricted free agents don't care about restricted free agency. It doesn't apply to us anymore. Any form of contact deadline with the potential draft picks is the 23rd, day before the draft. So they can do Zoom calls. They can do visits out to them up to that date, but they can't after that. And then the draft is the 24th through the 26th. We'll be live here. I know Karl will be live on, no, not on draft day. Karl goes into his whole
Thursday. I'm doing the ayahuasca trip. I'm going into that dark place, just like with Grady Jarrett. We'll be sitting on the couch together with zero cellular connectivity, nothing, just no phones, no internet, nothing, just draft.
Just draft. All right, we'll come back to the owners meeting. We talked about that. Here's the combine visits, the top 60. I think a lot of people have already forgotten some things, because a lot of people don't realize we interviewed Scattaboo and Judkins and Henderson at the combine visit. So there's a lot there. There's tons of defensive tackles, tons of interior offensive linemen. And then here's our updated top 30 visits. Addison West is added to that. He is also from Cary, Illinois. So he is a local visit, so he will not count. There is differing reports about both Tyler Warren and Mason Taylor, both tight ends, of whether they are actually in Hallis Hall top 30s or if they're on location personal workout visits. So take that with a grain of salt. But these are the 10 right now that the Bears are meeting with. Let's get into the roster because this is what some people were asking. So this is updated. We'll go over every single area. And Karl, how do you like the sound? This thing catches my sound everywhere. I like this thing. Karl recommended this mic to me.
Now, I'm almost certain that you're not using the software for it, are you?
I am using the software for it.
Oh, yeah? You got it dialed in?
Yeah, I got it dialed in, baby.
What I will say is that it's not sounding too much different on my end, but I have not noticed any inconsistencies as far as the weirdness, anything like that. So
people commented on the first video I made with it that they love the mic. So
Good.
you back off, Karl.
I said it doesn't sound any different to me in my ears. I haven't watched many videos with the new mic on my phone, on my computer. I'm sure it sounds much, much better to Adam. I'm sure of it. SHURE. I'm sure of it.
Hey, you recommend it. Actually, someone in the comments, when I mentioned what mic it was, they said Shure is manufactured in Illinois. I didn't know that.
That's unbelievable. I'm going to get one right now.
You told me you were. I bought the last generation because Karl's too rich for me. I bought the one that was the 7th gen, not the 8th gen.
Adam, it's called future-proofing, right? I spent a big penny on my graphics card when I got it to make sure I had the best because I don't plan to upgrade anytime soon. And that's what I'm going to be like with the microphone.
Okay, so guys, let's run through this. This is each position, and I have at the top right. It's covered up by my big logo there. Let's see if we can move. No, that didn't help much, did it? Well, either way, it shows what we had last year for the 90-man roster. That does not mean that they're going to do the exact same thing this year. They can put whatever number of players at whatever positions they want on the 90-man roster. But just for reference, for last year, we had 4 quarterbacks on the roster going into 90-man camp. I don't see a reason why they would add a 5th. I don't think we're going UDFA, especially in this weak quarterback class. I think they'll keep these 4 right here. And the running backs, we had 6 last year. Right now we had 4. So good opportunity, especially when Ben Johnson mentioned there's opportunities in day 1, day 2, day 3, and he specifically mentioned undrafted free agent. I paid for the I actually signed up for the free trial on LinkedIn to be able to contact the Western Region area scout and tell him about Kylan James. I did that. And then it said I couldn't message him. I was trying so hard to get a hold of him. I need him to see Kylan James and the amazingness that he could be for the Bears as an undrafted free agent. But remember, in undrafted free agency, they get to choose where they go. I wouldn't be shocked if the Raiders, with their need at running back, will take Kylan James here behind Ashton Genty after they sign Ashton Genty. Both very similar stats in the Mountain West Conference. They could have a 1-2 punch combo there, but I think we'll take one in the draft and one in undrafted free agency.
I love Brian Gilmore. Jesus Christ. You only did it one time and you're never going to live it down, Adam. One time, that's all it took.
And it wasn't even I only showed it because you made the one for me after. So I was showing what I was coming up with and what I showed Karl and how Karl made.
You used it live. You used the intro that you made.
Yeah, but to show how much better yours was. Like I was showing.
No. You used it unironically.
Oh, did I use it before?
One time.
Well, you made it at the same time.
That's why I made you the intro, because I saw it one time when I crashed out.
No. You made it before I ever used that one. I might have used it before you gave it to me.
No.
Karl, you're going to get removed from the screen again. No, I know you made it at the same time because I showed you and I said, Karl, this is the best I can come up with. Help me out, brother. And then you helped me out. So get to the point here, Karl. Are we drafting and getting an undrafted free agent? Or are we drafting 2? What do you think we're doing with running back?
As far as running back?
Yeah, because we took 6 in the camp last year.
Gotta take a running back before the end of day 2. Otherwise, our offense could struggle seriously. I think DeAndre Swift is that bad, guys. I think that DeAndre Swift, in a limited capacity as a rotational second running back, primarily focused on getting the ball in Swift's hands via the passing game, that is going to maximize his value. But as a guy who you expect to get the tote 20 times between the tackles, pick up the hard yards, our offense is going to become one-dimensional, very quick. Even if we have 2 tight ends and 12 personnel with Tyler Warren, it's still going to be predictable and it's still going to suck. You got to get a good running back. Not a running back, a good running back.
I don't know if we've ever disagreed this much on a podcast, and we're both tired today. So
my comments did not suggest that I want the Bears to take Ashton Genty at 10, trade up and draft.
No, I hear that, but you're
saying
you don't like DeAndre Swift. Do you realize how misutilized he was last year? His best year with the Eagles, he was used in zone schemes 75% of the time, and the Bears, for some reason, last year decided to use him in gap primarily. We used him in gap over 50% of the time last year. That was not suited to his needs. When he went to the tackle and went inside, he was terrible last year. But he is the bounce out player. That's what you get with your Sonic and Knuckles. He's a good Knuckles or a good Sonic. He's a good Sonic to be able to bounce out and get you 15 yards. He's not Knuckles. This is why I keep pounding the table for Cam Scattaboo and Caleb Johnson and players of that nature, they're going to be the big bruisers that can be your knuckles. But
Well, Caleb Johnson is not a bruiser.
Swift.
No, I agree that we need a bruiser. I don't necessarily want just a pure bruiser who's going to get, concussions and get his way out of the NFL and never earn a second contract.
Are you talking about Roschon Johnson?
Exactly. You stole the words out of my mouth, right? I don't want another Roschon Johnson just to kind of reshuffle the deck on that, so to speak, right? I just want a good running back who can do it all. If you trade back from 10 and get Omari and Hampton in the teens, I'm kind of okay with it. Especially if your opportunity cost is not getting Tyler Warren, that's fine by me. I don't want the Bears to draft a running back at 10. That would be stupid. That would be asinine. But if you don't get a starter quality running back in this year's draft and you roll with Swift as your primary lead back, you're screwed.
I hate to tell you that Swift is probably going to be the lead back, whoever you draft. Whoever you draft, Swift is probably going to be your lead back. That's just the way it works with vets and rookies coming in. You're not even if you take...
I need to go back and see how the Lions utilized that kid from Green Bay who had all those touchdowns for the Lions. I can't remember his name. He always does the anime clips, and he's really funny and an awesome guy. I can't think of his name. He had like 17 touchdowns one year. Then he went to the Saints. Because that
Jamal
guy...
Williams.
Yeah, thank you. That guy probably got at least the equal amount of touches that Swift got. And Swift... You talk about how
Jamal
he was
Williams
misutilized.
Was their goal line third down guy who got the. That's what you're going to get if you get like a Cam Scatterboo. Get Cam Scatterboo to hit between the trenches, and you get DeAndre Swift.
You've got the PFF. Guy. Would you be able to look that up for us on the fly real quick? What was Jamal Williams, I guess, total touches in comparison to Swift in, what was it, 2021, 2022?
And you're asking a lot here. Jamal Williams.
I mean, guys, I saw so many opportunities for DeAndre Swift to run through the tackles, and he chose not to. He put on his costume, spray painted the Lions logo, and said, "Hey guys, I'm going to cosplay as Barry Sanders today." And he tried to juke back and around, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, they tried to make him a gap.
No. That was Swift's choice.
They tried to make him that. That's not what he is. That's what I'm saying, Karl. We got to get a bruiser. We got to get a Cam Scatterboo in the middle and push him that way.
So you're seeing how this is a clear need. A starter is more important than a secondary player. Running back 1 is more important than tight end 2.
Karl, I love you. You can take Tyler Warren at 10 and still get Cam Scatterboo, still get some of these bruisers in the third round. Like, it doesn't have to be one or the other in that scenario. Like, you're making it sound like we can't go Tyler Warren and then we can't go.
Drafting a tight end at 10 and then a running back at 39, 41, 72, now you're cutting into the trench play.
But you can still get trenches on both your second rounders. You can get a really solid edge.
We're in agreement that the 10th overall selection should be used on a lineman. You don't know if you want an offensive lineman. I've recently fallen back into love with Will Campbell. I think that Will Campbell is the best offensive lineman in the draft, and he will end his career as being that. I don't know if I want him at 10 over Kenneth Grant. I want Kenneth Grant at 10.
You're taking Paris Johnson with Will Campbell is what you're doing. If you're going to settle for the same thing, you just gave this argument for quarterbacks, and you're making the exact opposite argument for offensive linemen. You can find a decent offensive lineman. Ariante Urshery, Wyatt Milam. I mean, so many. Josh Connerly in the second round. Why settle for Paris Johnson in the first round?
If you're pigeonholed.
We're not pigeonholed. You can
then draft Kenneth Grant because he will be available.
You don't have to take an offensive lineman. You can take a defensive lineman. If
and
you don't want
have
Tyler
to take
Warren
a backup tight end. A gadget.
It's not a backup. If you're drafting Tyler Warren, he's not a backup tight end. He's tight end 1/2. The same thing as Cole Kmet is.
So then you're pissing the value away of Cole Kmet. I think it would be the beginning of the end. Away.
Do you think Cole Kmet's going to get another contract in Chicago past 2028?
Yes. I think that Cole Kmet, if utilized properly in 2025, could accumulate 1,000 yards receiving.
You're going to draft a tight end this year to start developing behind Cole Kmet to replace Cole Kmet eventually. Cole Kmet will
then draft Colson Loveland.
I don't like Colson Loveland.
I know.
I'd rather draft Mason Taylor than Colson Loveland.
I'd rather have Mason Taylor at 72 or 41 than Colson Loveland at 10.
Okay, I can agree. I want Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant.
Ryan hit a home run here. Kmet is a top 10 tight end in the NFL. So why do you have to draft a top 10 player to replace a top 10 player in the NFL.
Cole Kmet has his limitations too, though. Are you acting like Cole Kmet is
the
ever going
only
to reach
limitation
Travis
that Cole
Kelce?
Kmet had last year was Shane Waldron.
Not the only. Cole Kmet is a limited tight end. Do you think Cole Kmet will ever get to Travis Kelce status?
Absolutely not, because he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, okay. Do you think he'll ever get to Sam Laporta status?
Yes.
They're
Especially with the exact same head coach.
Very different style of tight ends. He can't use Cole Kmet the same way Sam Laporta was used.
I'd bet on that. Let's put it on red.
He could use Colson Loveland the same way he used Sam Laporta. He can't use Cole Kmet the same way you use Sam Laporta. It's not the same style of tight end. Now, I like Cole Kmet. I think he's got very good use. You see those catches across the middle. You see the way he runs people over and forces his way into the end zone, 10 yards out, dragging people on his ankles, forcing his way into the end zone. Cole Kmet has some great value, but he's never going to be your elite route running tight end. He's never going to be a wide receiver, pure wide tight end.
Tyler Warren isn't either. Tyler Warren's value comes from the wildcat, gadget, triple end around bullshit that worked against Iowa, that worked against Nebraska.
So Jahmyr Gibbs should not have been drafted 12th, right?
Now, this is where you can make the argument. I was in full agreement that when the Lions traded back up to draft Jahmyr Gibbs, I thought that they should immediately be scouting which quarterback they'd be drafting in the following draft, number 1 overall. I thought it was an awful draft pick.
Yeah, I did too.
All Jahmyr Gibbs did was prove that he's the 3rd best running back in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs is fantastic. That draft pick was incredible. And we have the head coach now that participated in that, by the way.
Okay, you're making your own argument. Why is Jahmyr Gibbs so good with Ben Johnson?
Well, the offensive line definitely helps.
Okay, but what did Ben Johnson say about Jahmyr Gibbs? He's not just a quarterback. He's a football player, and he's a weapon. Same thing he's saying about Tyler Warren. Same thing. So you might feel like that's an overdraft at 10. Problem is, he's probably not. It's not probably not an option. The Jets are probably taking Tyler Warren at 7. So,
yeah, and when they draft Armband Bamboo, we will see.
Oh my!
We'll talk about that.
You think the Bears will draft Armand Bamboo?
No, the Jets.
Oh, okay. That's more likely than the Bears. Yes. That is definitely more likely than the Bears. All right. Getting back, focusing in. Karl and I are out in left field today. We're crazy. So we're in agreement. We're going to take two running backs, right? What do you think the odds are that
in this draft?
Yeah. Well, in the draft, we're undrafted free agency. We need a couple more to round it out. We went into went into
2
6
backs
last year.
Imagine they drafted Genti at 10 on Thursday, cut DeAndre Swift, and then drafted RJ Harvey at 72.
Do you realize how much money we'd lose by cutting?
Yeah, it'd
DeAndre
be stupid.
Swift?
It'd be terrible. It'd almost be as stupid as drafting Tyler Warren at 10th overall. I'm sorry.
He's on a roll today. He's on a roll. Yeah, that is stupid. We took 6 into camp last year. We're gonna acquire 2 more running backs somehow, some way. Let's get to the wide receivers. So here's our wide receiver room, Karl, and our tight. Oh, we lost it. Oh no, I go offensive line first. Sorry, offensive line. 16 total came into camp last year. We've got 8, 9, 10, 6. We've got 14 on the roster right now. I think that's perfect amount to draft in this draft. 1 late, 1 early, probably a guard to replace Tooney next year if we don't get this contract extension done. Probably a tackle later on in the draft. Probably on the same lines there, Karl. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't play your cards right, you could be looking at an option of literally relying on Karan Amagaji to be your left tackle in 2026, or being pigeonholed into paying Braxton Jones $20 million or franchise tagging him. So they need to find some contingency plan. Again, if you think that Will Campbell's the best left tackle in the 2025 NFL draft and he falls to your lap at 10, take him, recoup some value for Braxton Jones. It is what it is, but wouldn't be my favorite outcome. We've already talked about that.
It's possible. It's possible they do that. I think it would be really dumb with how this offensive line is already stacked up and the needs we have on the defensive line. I'm dumb when it comes to the offensive line. Because there's two different things. We forget so quickly how depth was our issue last year, but the 10th overall pick the same argument you're making for tight end, I can make for offensive line. But, they've talked extensively about this. And I think this is the one thing that nobody knows where the Bears will go with that offensive line. They could attack it in the first day. They could attack it in the second day. They could wait till I would imagine they take one offensive lineman at least before the end of the second day. You would think.
I've said this since before Caleb Williams was drafted. I said that the Bears would be spending 2 of their top 3 picks in the 2025 NFL draft on linemen. Yeah. And if one of them is an offensive lineman, if both of them are offensive linemen, I'm okay with it. They need to do something of that nature.
Yeah, a couple comments about trading down. Poles has made several comments on that, and it's kind of one of those things where he's planting the seed. You can see that seed is planted already. Do we trade down from 10 and get some more value? Do we trade down from 41 after we picked at 39 and gain some more value there? You can trade down from 41 to 48 and still be right in that same range where there's a lot of players available and still get a late third-round pick.
And hey, remember in the past 2 months of us talking on Thursdays, Adam, how I've said that I felt that picks I'm not going to pretend that I've analyzed all 100 prospects and came to this conclusion through scientific analysis. I've heard that picks 20 to 60 are essentially the same. I just heard you talk about this yesterday. Ryan Poles agrees with me. Agrees with the source that I heard it from.
I think he actually said 10 through 70. So he expanded it a little bit.
Exactly.
10 through 70.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're still going to want to take your better prospects at 10 than you are at 70. But if you can trade back from 10 and gain some value, I think everybody's I've been on this boat for a while. I want the trade down. I would really like Mason Graham or Kenneth Grant the most, but if that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to trade down too, but you always want to trade down, and it takes 2 to tango. So now we're splitting hairs. You want to move from 10 to 18, pick up 50, and you're hoping that Kenneth Grant falls to you at 18, praying on the edge of your seat. Fuck that. To answer James Horner straight up, I want Kenneth Grant at 10 if Mason Graham is not available. Hell, if both are available, find a way to draft at 10 and trade back up to 11. I don't care. Give me both.
No Michigan bias there whatsoever. We don't need
Correct.
We don't need two.
And if you want to get crazy, trade Andrew Billings and go get Walter Nolan at 12. Fuck it. Get the Michigan boys.
Karl. You're in timeout again.
The Fab 3.
Mikey already commented. That's like your 5th F-bomb of the show, man. You're little on edge today.
I'm totally out of line.
Love you, Karl, but
I'm totally out of line.
It's a family show over here. Come on.
Totally out of line.
All right, here's our wide receivers. All right, so now we have 9. Do we have 9 wide receivers? So whoever asked, is it possible we draft a wide receiver? It's absolutely possible. We took 10 into camp last year. We have 9 right now. Very possible we sign another one. So as it stands right now, we have 71 on the roster. We have 78 if you count the 7 draft picks. So we'll have to sign 12 more players. That could be done through undrafted free agency. It can be done with players like Miles Boykin, who you're trying to take a shot on and see if they can develop and see if they become one of your guys that fight their way onto the roster. There's a lot of different options. So then you got Cole Kmet and Durham Smythe, and you've got Steven Carlson, Joel Wilson, and Jordan Murray on the 90-man roster. So we're pretty much set at tight end other than drafting one. We've already talked about tight ends extensively. We're going to draft one. Who knows where? But we do know Mason Taylor has been a team favorite, and Tyler Warren has been a team favorite.
If you want to hard agree and you want to do that arm-shaking meme that you sent to me on Twitter the other day, I think that we're in lockstep that the Bears not only should, but literally require. It's a requirement to draft a tight end of the 2025 NFL draft. Whether it's 10, 39, 41, 72, draft a tight end. It's very important.
I like this comment. Karl is assertive but passive-aggressive with a sprinkle of apology.
That's when Prometheus throughout the week, I've worked more than I've slept. So this is what you get. This is what you guys get, and it's not your fault or Adam's fault, so I apologize.
The thing is, Karl and I understand each other really well, so I like Karl a lot.
I told you, there's nothing that I'm hopeful that I've earned. I've got to the point where you know that I'm never trying to insult you, offend you. If I tell you something that you say is stupid, it's not disrespectful. It's just how I talk.
We understand each other.
Correct.
All right, so we're going to move past this because we've already hit that to the bolts. Defensive linemen, we took 15 last year. Right now, we're sitting at 12, so we will add 3 more. I would say it's pretty darn certain we're going to add at least 1 defensive tackle and 1 edge in the draft. And then either one more signing that's a low-level signing like we've seen some of these guys, or undrafted free agency. We always hit pretty well with defensive tackles, defensive ends. We always go after it in undrafted free agency. Now, whether they stick on the roster is another thing.
You brought up 15. Are you saying 15 going into the 90-man camp?
Last year. We're just going off historically what we have done in the past. Doesn't mean we're going to do the same thing this year. But that's what we did last year. We took 15 defensive.
Just to be blunt for the cavemen such as myself, we did not bring 15 into the 53.
This is the 90-man roster. We're focused on one thing right now. That's building a 90-man roster. We're at 71 right now. After the draft, we'll be at 78. We got to add 12 more. So you'll see more signings like you saw today. Some of them more important than other ones. So there will be 12 more outside of the draft that will be signed by the Bears, undrafted free agent. I would expect you to have a couple of them. And I think defensive line is a great place to do that. So I would see us adding a couple more there. Offensive line, later on, there's some good offensive linemen late in this draft that could be some good prospects. So we'll see some of that. Just giving an update of where we stand with the roster. People can look this over. They can say where things are and kind of get a feel for things. We move to the linebackers and the nickels. Kyler Gordon and Josh Blackwell are really our only 2 nickels right now. So I would expect us to pick another one up somewhere, maybe undrafted free agency like before we did with Reddy Stewart. How we let him go, I don't understand it. I don't understand it one bit, but we did. And went to a division rival, so that sucks even more. So we'll probably pick up one more nickel. And linebackers, last year we took 9 into camp, and right now we only have 6. So I would assume we're going to draft one and probably hit undrafted free agency is a really good place to pick up linebackers. They're very hard to evaluate, and they are not valued in the draft as highly as they should be. They usually you get some really good ones.
TJ Edwards a UDFA?
He is, and so was Jack Sanborn. Jack Sanborn was too.
Right. Well, Jack Sanborn's no longer with us, but yeah.
But I'm saying we picked him up in UDFA.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, if your linebacker room looks very similar to what you guys see on the screen, I wouldn't be surprised, nor would I have any issues with it. I would have an issue if the Bears tried to be the smartest guy in the room and maybe draft that UCLA linebacker at 39, or if you trade down into the late 20s. Yeah, that'd be very, very disappointing. But
I don't know if it is, because we don't even know if Tremaine Edmonds is going to pan out. So to me,
Tremaine Edmonds is going to be on the roster in 2025. I've heard Ben Johnson say very nice things about Edmonds and Edwards. And honestly, at this point, I think that their value increases with each other being on the same football field, because they have the chemistry, right? So it's a different scheme. It's going to be the same concept, though, right? 4-3. Those guys are going to be the linebackers who are on the field most of the time, probably with Kyler Gordon. I'm not saying Kyler Gordon is a linebacker, but he technically plays the same position as Hunter Hillenmeyer. So
those who don't understand what Karl's saying, we switch between base and nickel. On the base package, we'll have a third linebacker in there. That's when Jack Sanborn was in. Last year, that was typically 25% of the snaps. We ran 3/4 of the time nickel and 1/4 of the time base. So whether that's Swayze Bozeman or Amen Ogbongbemiga, or we draft someone to be able to come in and play that role, we run nickel more than we run base. Does Dennis Allen run the same way? Similar. He runs a lot more man coverage as well, though, and he does run a lot of nickel package. So we'll see a lot more man coverage and a lot more pressing, straightforward, less stunts, less blitzes. So I don't know. How do they stop using Kyler Gordon for blitzes, though? I'm gonna say they're gonna use him more than Dennis Allen usually uses his blitz packages. He's gonna have.
Well, Dennis Allen is gonna be a lot better than Eberflus at dialing up that pressure and having the cojones to actually call it. And Kyler Gordon's darn good at it, especially if you're gonna get a contract extension for him. So you need to utilize him.
Yeah, the Bears, they asked Ryan Poles if that's on the back burner, if they're not going to focus on Kyler Gordon right now, and he said absolutely not. Kyler Gordon is a priority. It's a main focus of ours to get him extended. So that expect him to be a major part of this defense of this team, of this defense going forward. So 100% Kyler Gordon's important. Josh Blackwell, very important as well. I'm a bigger meat writer than anybody when it comes to Josh Blackwell.
You're going to put me in timeout and then you're going to use that word? I guess as Brian said, I'm a bad influence. I don't know. I don't know anymore.
We all know that Karl's the biggest.
Family friendly.
Josh
Adam,
Blackwell.
what does meat writer mean?
I'm using your own words.
Yeah, you're not going to beat me. I've got it set in stone. It's documented on YouTube. There's no one. I'm buying the shirt. I'm buying the jersey. It's done. It's donezo.
This is fun. All right, quarterbacks. We did pick up Sean Wade, so he's down there with Amir Speed and Nick McLeod. Which one of those guys ends up being our cornerback? It is not out of the realm of possibility. We could draft a cornerback as well, or possibly sign one as an undrafted free agent as well. We took 7 into camp last year. Right now we're with 6, so probably adding one more. And yes, I'm not changing. I've had it all offseason. I've had Terrell Smith as the other starting cornerback alongside Jalen Johnson. If Dennis Allen is smart, that's what he'll do. I don't hate Tyreek Stevenson, but he said he's going to run man package more. Tyreek Stevenson is better at zone. He's a harder hitter. He tackles harder. But Terrell Smith stays hip to hip, and he's one of the best in the league.
Predetermining what to do with the roster is what would be stupid, Adam. If Dennis Allen says one or the other, Terrell Smith is my 2, Tyreek Stevenson is my 2, that is what's stupid. You have to have it be an open and honest competition. Give those guys each a fair shot. This regime, outside of Ryan Poles, does not care where Tyreek Stevenson was drafted at. And it shouldn't matter anymore. You guys came in together you're on the same timeline, right? Same draft. Have these guys compete their tails off. Talk about iron sharpens iron. I expect Terrell Smith to win because I think he's the better football player at the end of the day. But don't predetermine anything.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I'm not trying to imply that. I'm just saying I think Terrell Smith will run Dennis Allen's package better as a man coverage cornerback. Yeah, I don't think people realize he graded out better than Jalen Johnson last year. Terrell Smith did. So when he was... I'm just telling you the facts. That's what happened. So the thing is, the Bears, and this is why, the Bears only put Terrell Smith in man package opportunities and when Tyreek Stevenson was injured. So he played a specific role, played to his strengths, and he played very, very well at it. So we're going to get some questions. We got to do questions here in a minute. Being that they haven't extended Tooney, Will Campbell is still high on my board. I can agree with. I can understand the logic behind this because I don't know if we will get Tooney extended at this point. The best O lineman in this draft, regardless if he plays at left tackle on day one, it would be so hard to pass on him at 10. So I can understand what you're saying there, and I understand what you were saying
especially
earlier.
If the board falls properly. Taking Will Campbell at 10 could end up being a godsend. I'll put it lightly. So.
To me, I'm just going to reiterate, that's the same thing as taking Paris Johnson at 10. So I can understand why the Titans did it.
I disagree. Paris Johnson is your left tackle for the Cardinals, right?
He plays guard now, I believe.
That's really funny. But either way, I mean, going to the Cardinals, they've got a really terrible, really awful quarterback surrounded with weapons, so their offensive line has to be a problem.
Different situation, same type of player is what I'm saying. You're looking at the same value, same level, same experience in college, same value coming out of college to the NFL. Everyone was high on Paris Johnson.
I hate to break it to you. I'm pretty sure that Bears fans were high on Paris Johnson because we had Ohio State's quarterback and we wanted his running mate tackle. That's what I think that boiled down to.
I don't think it was just that. There were a lot of people that liked his game. But what else do I have on here? Oh, this is where I said my wish list last year. Here's the ones who've signed elsewhere. So
Jacob Martin's officially on the Skins.
Yeah, you didn't see that?
Nice. No, I did not.
The last two were Matt Pryor to the Eagles and Jacob Martin to the Redskins.
Jacob Martin was number 55 for us, right?
Yeah, he was.
That was his first game back after being on an extended injury hiatus, and he came back against the Skins. And I'll tell you what, Adam, Jacob Martin played well. So I think that's why he's on the Redskins right now is because he impressed him.
I think he played well. His pass rush win rates, his pressure rates, they were all good. He was just limited in opportunities. They did not play him enough. They should have given him more of a chance. And I said that all season too. I said, why are we not?
Yeah, in a perfect world,
why are we not
Larry
playing him
Borum and Jacob Martin are both healthy, Jacob Martin makes the roster over Borum. Borum gets cut. Maybe we got a better left tackle and we win some more games because we're not playing actual trash. Season last year was such a mess, Adam. Such a mess.
So the whole purpose of this one was supposed to be, are the 2025 Bears built to compete? And we've gone way off track. Now, we had some signings today, so we had to talk about, we threw that in last second, the Case Keenum signing. We had wide receiver and defensive back signing. We want to get to some questions today, too. I've been ignoring the chat, and I don't mean to. Anybody that wants to throw a question in chat, Karl and I will hit some of those up. But as we
let me address the elephant in the room. I got pulled off of the screen 3 times and essentially yelled at by Adam and the chat.
Oh, Karl.
After I literally blew up over the Tyler Warren take. I've talked about it ad nauseum, right? For 30 minutes of the 60 minutes I've been live. Mr. Shorty pops in. I think that the Bears will draft Tyler Warren. I had a dream about it. I'm having like a heart attack. I know I fidget a lot on screen, but I'm literally like, oh my God, I can't deal with it. Like, that's how bad it is. Perfect timing, Shorty. Jesus.
I'll give you get a full minute and you get the last word. I will say nothing afterwards. Why should the Bears or why shouldn't they take Tyler Warren? I'm not going to say another word once you're done. Go ahead.
Again, if you're talking needs, right? If you're going to waste the pick on an offensive player, just draft the starter. Draft the starting caliber running back. Because if you rely on DeAndre Swift to be RB1, your offense is going to become one-dimensional very quickly. And I don't care if you've got Gronk, Kelsey, Antonio Gates, tight end's not going to get the ball. You're going to have the perfect coverage dialed in from the jump. It's just not going to work, man. Tyler Warren is not Brock Bowers in any stretch of the imagination. The only thing that that Tyler Warren might be better at than Brock Bowers is the gimmicky, gadgety, wildcat, triple end around garbage. He's not a better pass catcher than Colston Loveland. He's definitely not anywhere near the same type of receiving threat that Brock Bowers is. So why are we taking a backup tight end at 10? Okay, you want to upgrade Cole Kmet, who's a top 10 tight end in the NFL. You're going to replace him? He's already being paid that much. Now we're saying, oh, Cole Kmet's not a good blocker, but he could be a good blocker as a tight end too. It makes no sense.
All right, you guys were right. I did mix up Paris Johnson and Peter Skronsky. I was talking about Peter Skronsky.
That's now I see where the insult's coming from. Wow.
So I was talking about Peter Skronsky in relation to Will Campbell. But I got to hit a couple things here. Shorty has seen aliens twice.
And one of those aliens being Tyler Warren to the Bears at 10 in his dream.
And he says 3 times. I've seen a UFO.
Oh my God, Cliff Victoria.
Wait, Karl. I've seen a UFO too. In real life. I've seen a UFO.
Was it Justin Fields playing quarterback?
No,
as a running back?
Real.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You could pull me again. I'm so sorry.
I'm not going to pull you for that. He's gone.
So was his NFL career. I'm so sorry.
What are you going to do if he absolutely kills it with the Jets?
I will go out of my way. I will go out of my way to wear full Michigan gear, and I will go up to Justin Fields, and I will say, you did good, kid, and I will shake his hand.
You done good, kid.
That's exactly what I do.
What is this fan base going to do if he balls out? Like, if he takes the Jets to the playoffs, what's this fan base going to do?
There's probably going to be any sort of negativity that Caleb Williams has on the football field. It will result in a sell the team, trade the quarterback type situation. It'll be embarrassing. It will be embarrassing.
It'll be fine if Caleb Williams does better, and I have full faith and confidence he will. I have not looked at Montrell Johnson yet. I am biased when I look at my UDFAs. I've looked at Kylan James from UNLV, and I don't think there's any better UDFA option. So you have not seen aliens. So I don't believe in aliens. I believe there are people on other Earths. We're not going to get crazy into this, guys. This could be fun. But I really did see a UFO, and I think any UFOs people see are like government stuff, like government, like practicing on new technology type of stuff.
So does that actually make it a UFO, or is it unidentified to the public?
Unidentified to if it moves different than anything we've ever seen. But I live in Vegas too, and there is Area 51 is not far from here, and it's still active, right. And it's real, and they really do test stuff out there. So I think what I saw.
That's just Shorty. He's talking about white dots. We're not talking about Commander Fravor or whatever from Joe Rogan talking about how his actual military-grade equipment wasn't able to pick up the heat seat. There's nothing constructive here. Just because you were off the gummies with your wife looking at dots in the sky. Come on, bro.
Okay, Karl, we listened to you for a full minute. I didn't retort Tyler Warren at all. We're just gonna put this on the screen from Squeegee.
Yeah, exactly. Can throw the ball.
You're gonna handle yourself just fine, Karl. You're gonna be fine.
Kmet is not that. Okay, so
we're gonna just let this be read. We're gonna let it be read. Karl will come back in a second. I gave you a full minute. We're gonna let Squeegee have his moment.
I cast Pot of Greed. No, I'm done. I'm done.
All right. Anybody that wants to ask any questions, we got about 15 minutes left, and then we're gonna let Karl go get ready for BCP tonight. We were going to talk about, we've gotten so off track tonight. I appreciate you guys tuning in and having fun with this, but we were going to talk about, are the Bears built to compete in 2025?
No, I think we should focus on that, Adam.
We're going to have fun for just a minute. Do you think we're built to compete right now as it stands? I obviously count the draft. Say we're going to draft whatever it is, 2 offensive linemen, 2 defensive linemen, a running back, a tight end, and another position. Are we built to compete as long as we do those things? Are we built to compete, Karl?
I predicted the Bears to go not to the playoffs, but to at least be hyper competitive last year. I thought that them going to the playoffs would not be a surprise by any stretch of the imagination, and instead what they did was fire their head coach in the middle of the season for the first time ever. So are the Bears built to compete? No, not until they do compete. So
depends on what your definition of compete is. I think the expectation should be to make it to the playoffs this year. Are we built to compete for a Super Bowl? I don't think that just like what you just said, the expectation should not be there until we make the playoffs.
The problem, too, is the competition. Now, I'm of the mindset that the Lions could finish 4th in the division. I think that their brain drain really is going to help out as far as the Bears having a winning record. But my God, the Minnesota Vikings, look what they've done. Yeah, they fell flat on their face, and they injected everything into their team.
Yeah, you've got to be.
If their quarterback is worth anything,
there you go. You've got to be completely guessing on their quarterback, though. They're the one team,
but it's not a guess.
Complete unknown. They don't know yet. JJ McCarthy hasn't taken a snap.
I know that the head coach, aka the coach of the year, has a track record of getting the best out of Kirk Cousins.
It's still an unknown up to this point. So it's just like the Bears until we make the playoffs. We shouldn't be considered competitors for the Super Bowl, but I think we should compete for a playoff spot, right? Whether it's winning the division or more likely earning a wild card spot.
In the expanded playoff format, if the NFC is kind of this, I don't know, it was the AFC that was so top heavy. I don't know, man. I think that the Bears could definitely try and make it into the playoffs via the wild card. As far as being, built to compete, I still think there's some work to do, man. I don't know if
clarify, built to compete for a playoff or built to compete for the Super Bowl. I don't think so. I think
we're in chance that they win the Super Bowl.
I think we're in consensus that we're a little ahead of ourselves to talk Super Bowl, correct?
Yeah, but nothing they do in the draft will change that.
Competing for a playoff spot, we should be right in there in competition for a playoff spot. I mean, 5 games we should have won last year that we didn't because of coaching.
I think it's just a tiny bit premature as far as the draft. I want to see how the other teams attack everything, but the fact of the matter is we finished 4th in the division, and the teams around us haven't gotten significantly worse. I think that the Packers are terrible, but the Packers have a very favorable schedule, and they have a darn good head coach. I would be surprised if the Packers didn't win multiple games this year.
That's a really good point, though, Karl.
I'm sorry. Multiple digits, 10+ games. That was a terrible blunder. I'm sorry.
A lot of people forget this as we go through our offseason, and we're the 3-time reigning offseason champions, right? I mean, everyone says that. We're the 3-time champions of the offseason 3 years in a row, which, that's good because we're rebuilding. We're getting there. But other teams are building and improving, too. Most teams are making significant moves right now, too. And like you said, the Vikings are making some huge moves. Other teams aren't staying stagnant while we're making these moves. Other teams are improving too. So it's important to remember that as we go through the offseason. It's not just one team. The Bears are just part of that. And hopefully we make enough moves between our coaching staff, through our, all the additional coaches that come along with that, through play design and calling changes, to our offensive line, and then the draft. I mean, we've made a lot of significant good moves, but until you actually put those wins on paper, it's all just another offseason championship.
Right.
We can go 4-0 in the preseason and still only go 5-12 in the season this next year.
Yeah, preseason's worthless. That's right.
Yeah, we were 4-0 last year. We should have won the Super Bowl, right?
Well, that was a lot. Thanks to Mr. Tyson Bagent for having some good preseason performances. But
all right, let's hit a couple of these.
So, the roster.
Brian, he will be on the roster. Brian Williams, we're gonna throw Bagent in this too. So I'm gonna let you go first on this, Karl. Do you think we trade Kmet, Swift, or Bagent this year?
Like, what's more likely?
No. Do you think we do at all? Do you think any of these guys are going to get traded?
Well, no, I don't. But there is a situation where, and this is my preferred method, it would be stupid, it would be asinine. If you want to get really risky and draft Genty at 10, sure. I don't like that. I wouldn't entertain that. I would much prefer a trade down. If you can trade down and get Omari and Hampton in the teens, and then you have the gall to say, you know what? RJ Harvey is just a simply better player than DeAndre Swift. Then you trade away Swift for peanuts, a.k.a. a 6th.
No one's
conditional
gonna,
7th. I don't care.
No one's going to take Swift.
Cut him.
No, you cut him and you lose $13 million. You're not going to do it.
Yeah, it'd be stupid. It would be stupid. It'd almost be as stupid as drafting a tight end at 10th overall. But I don't think it's likely at all.
You're on one tonight. You're on one.
I know. It's bad.
So to answer Brian Williams' question, I don't think we trade Kmet or Swift or Bagent. I don't think Swift or Bagent would have trade value at all. I do think
Swift would have the tiniest bit of value.
No, because
Bagent
of this year's running
nothing.
back class. This year's running back class makes Swift very. You're not going to get anything for Swift, even though he's a good running back. You're not going to get things for him because of this year's running back class.
You could get a 6th or a 7th, and I know that sounds like nothing, but if your opportunity cost is drafting a better player to replace him, so what?
This is kind of funny. Aldo had a show this week about which Hollywood actresses should be the new Honey Bears. Fantastic. Way
now,
off
Cliff, was Joy Taylor in the conversation at all? Because let me tell you.
Reese Reed, we are built to compete as long as we draft Warren at 10. Shh, Karl. Shh. I thought we were going to talk about re-signing Keenan and not Keenum. That's kind of funny. I think the over-under right now is set at 8.5, isn't it? I think that's what they said our primary over-under at.
Smashing the under. I'm smashing the under.
For the Bears, you're smashing the under for 8.5?
Yeah.
I think
eight wins is very plausible, probable. 9 wins would be cool. I don't know if it'll happen. You could sneak into the playoffs, but I doubt it.
Oof. I have a hard time with the things you're saying on tonight's show. I really do.
I want to be positive, but I'm at the point where, look, you traded for a right guard, and he has Pro Bowl talent, and in conversation, you're only going to hear that the Bears have a Pro Bowl right guard. He could flame out. He could be terrible. Then you've got a big problem.
All right, here's a question. Would you trade up into the late first round for a second first rounder with a future draft capital player package?
I'm sorry, I don't understand this question.
All right, so we've already drafted at 10. We've got 39 coming up next. Would you trade up into the late first round, so get a second first rounder with future draft capital player package? Would you trade a player, or let's just keep it to future draft?
That's what I don't understand. Like, am I giving away a first round pick in 2026 in any scenario? No.
So let's just these are things I understand. If trade value here, if you're trading from 39 and you're trying to come up to, let's say, to 29, you're going to give up this year's 39 and probably next year's second rounder to come up to 29. That's what you're going to give up
to draft Omari and Hampton. Sure, that's fine.
Let's just say it's a player. We don't have. Let's say it's Nick Emenwari for me. I would love for us to trade into the late first.
Ooh, you're going to trade serious draft capital just to get a replacement safety for a good secondary you already have? That would be bad.
Ariante Ursary, who could play tackle, but is more of a Trey Smith comp. His comp is Trey Smith. He is Trey Smith 2.0. Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota. I would trade up a second rounder next year and this year's 39 to do that. So the answer to this one, yes, depending on the right player. I think anybody would for the right player. I don't think anybody would be really upset at that. I would just hope it's for the right player. But there's a lot of good players at 39 and 41 too, so I don't think we need to. All right, this one's not pointed at you, so you don't get an answer, Karl. Sorry. Adam, would you trade with Pats for the 4th pick to grab Abdul Carter for the 10th pick, and it'll take way more than that.
Yeah, Vizojo, if that was ever a possibility, you absolutely have to do that because you're getting an iconic, potentially defensive end at the opportunity cost of a second-round pick. Try this. To go from 10th to 4th would be what? Picks 10, 39, maybe 41, and a 2026 one?
No.
Like
that's
craziness?
Not gonna cost that much. It's not going to cost that much.
It would cost a lot more than a second.
This was pointed at me, Carl. Look at the name, Adam. Adam, would you trade?
I'm out of line today.
Carl, Adam, would you do this? I would do that in a heartbeat. Carl already answered yes, but it's going to take 10, 39, and probably next year's second. So 10, 39, and next year's second to do that. Maybe even another kicker, like not a kicker, but another kicker pick, like next year's 4th or the 5th rounder this year. It might take another additional sweetener. I should use the word sweetener. Take another sweetener to do that. So I would do that in a heartbeat. I think it'll take way more than that to do it. All right, let's see here. You see any questions on there we can bring up?
There was a bunch prior. 2.0 asks, can we talk about how the Packers suck? I would love that.
We'll get to that in a second. I'm trying to go through these in order so I don't miss any. Have you looked at Keontae Hamilton? Very briefly. I haven't looked deep at him yet, so I'm not worth commenting on him. All right. Cliff says, who do Bears look at taking if they trade down 5 spots, 10 spots, 20 spots? So it's all going to depend on how it falls. And the draft board is not going to go like we all say it's going to go right now. It's never going to go the way that we say it. So here is from last. Let me remove this question. Let's remove this one. Let's put this one on here. All right. So last time I put these on here, I put my favorites. Let's get to the end here. So here's some of my favorite players. I don't think the Bears are even looking at Nick Amenwari. If Kenneth Grant doesn't go to San Francisco at 11, I would love a trade down, but I think San Francisco's keyed in on Kenneth Grant. I think they're really sold on him. The other thing that could, mess that up with San Francisco, these are just some of my favorites. If you missed my Tuesday show, Carl, this is, I picked 25 guys in the top 100 that I like the most, that I'd like to see the Bears potentially go get. Tyler Booker's there. Josh Simmons is there. James Pierce is there. Walter Nolan's there. Nick Scourton's there. There's a lot of options trading down 5, 10 spots. I just don't think Ryan Poles is the type to trade down 8, 10, 20 spots. You see some people mocking trading all the way down to the end of the first round with Buffalo or Kansas City. That's not Ryan Poles' MO. If he does trade, it'll be something like the Cowboys or the Colts, 2 spots or 4 spots. He's not going to go down. I think we all like the idea of trading down with Seattle because they need offensive line. So trading down 8 spots and getting a guaranteed second rounder this year and probably additional, maybe a 4th rounder next year. I think that's kind of what we would like to see. But I think Poles is the type that would only trade down to, 2 spots or 4 spots, just like he did before when he traded Jalen Carter from 9 to 10. And then he still overdrafted, according to your mocks, overdrafted Darnell Wright, which ended up being the right thing to do. So. Any thoughts on that, Carl?
Takes 2 to tango. If you're going to trade back, it's got to be for a reason. Players who would be willing to trade up for is probably very small capacity. List is probably some combination of Will Johnson, Ashton Genty, and Will Campbell. So maybe a pass rusher if something crazy happens. Hopefully someone views Shamar Stewart as fool's gold. Maybe someone is absolutely in love with Shamar Stewart, like a playoff team, and they just give you everything. That would be cool, but I don't know. I don't really want to trade out. Just take Kenneth Grant at 10. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room.
Okay, here we go, Carl. This is for you. Go ahead.
It's just Jordan Love. If you guys are a member of Bear Down Sports, let's go ahead and see the Green Bay Sucks, the stinky cheese emojis. Just get them flowing. That's what it's all about, man. You've got a very bad quarterback being very highly paid. And unfortunately, you can't reap the benefits of that as a Bears fan because they also have a top 5 head coach in the entire NFL. So rocking a hard place, kind of, but whatever.
Did you see the owners' meetings? Did you see all of Matt LaFleur's comments? Did you see them interview him? Did you see any of that?
No.
He was so on edge. Like he looked so uncomfortable with what's happening. He was so defensive. Like, it's a whole different side to Matt LaFleur.
It's embarrassing. You're telling me as the Packers you have to go out of your way to trade for DK Metcalf to inflate the value of the highest paid quarterback in the NFL currently, and you swung and miss on him? You're in a really bad spot.
I think the Packers are headed for that spiral, but I was saying that last year too. I was a year early on that. They still found a way to win.
And they're going to win in 2025. They have too good of a coaching staff, specifically their head coach. I also love their special teams coordinator. And they've got a terrible schedule. So they'll luck their way into 10, 11, 12 wins. They'll go back to Philadelphia or some other hostile environment on the road and wild card Saturday, Sunday, whatever. And they'll get the break speed off of them. And hopefully, finally, they don't get a lucky schedule. They finish second in the NFC North and play a second-place schedule. And hopefully in 2026, they go 4 wins. Jordan Love, cut out of the NFL. That'd be great. It would be great.
I love it. I think the big surprise last year for the Packers was they improved their defense. I don't remember their defensive coordinator's name off the top of my head, but they got a new defensive coordinator, and he was the difference maker last year. He actually
I don't know if the coordinator helped as much with that linebacker that they got, but that linebacker was overperforming for what he was.
Yeah, they did Edrin Cooper. So picking him in the draft was a really smart move by them. He's one of the best last year overall.
Yeah, and he overperformed, and if he doesn't overperform, that defense could be terrible. I know Jair Alexander's terrible, but
they did look better with the new defensive coordinator. He's the big difference maker for the Packers last year. They performed better on defense than they did the year before. It did help lead to some wins. It helped them overcome terribly inconsistent quarterback play with one of the least accurate quarterbacks in the league. Those who aren't used to me talking about Jordan Love, I have taken a hiatus since the season was over. He's not really on my focus or attention, but I am one of the leaders of I have a whole emoji for Jordan Love with a poop emoji on his head.
Yeah, Squeegee just threw it up. That's amazing.
I do not believe in Jordan Love whatsoever. I'm not wrong. I'm just early, and he's always been very inconsistent. Do you remember 2 off seasons ago when they were out there on the field practicing, and he was throwing into a net on the field 15 yards in front of him? It's one of those big nets, probably 3 yards wide by 3 yards deep. So that's 9 feet by 9 feet. That's a big size net. And he's sitting there throwing probably 15 yards ahead of him. He threw like 10 straight throws. He couldn't hit the net one time. Like, it was embarrassing. It's almost as embarrassing as the David Montgomery pulling that cable and getting unleashed back. I don't know if you remember that too.
This RS guy in chat, I love you, buddy, for spending your time with us, but come on, let's be a little bit sensical, right? It's not about, I don't hate Tyler Warren because he went to Penn State. I have no issues with players from other colleges. I want the Bears to draft Travion Henderson at 39 if he slips past Chip Kelly. I doubt that happens.
They don't yet. The Packers fans don't. I think they're starting to realize. I think they're starting to get a dose of reality after last season, but it hasn't sunk in yet. They still believe in their quarterback.
So. Oh my God, Knowledge Untamed. Got it. Isn't that Michigan State? Is that what you're referring to, Knowledge Untamed? Good old, who's that guy from the Bears who went to be their coach? He got royally screwed as well.
I think we need to hide Karl from the chat. He's on one today. He's having a rough day.
No. I've got a short fuse, and I'm being fed the crap, right? I'm like, I don't care about you guys hating Michigan. That's fine. And I don't have any disdain, is that the correct word, for any player from any college. I don't care. I like the Bears.
Tyler Warren definitely could be he could be used as a fullback as well. You mean
the Kyle Juszczyk who got cut?
He's a definite gadget tool. He's a tool that we could use in every facet. Tyler Warren would be an absolute phenomenal player on this team. From the way he can line up and block, he can be deceptive, he can run routes. I mean, he's just the ultimate weapon for this team. I would love to see Tyler Warren on this team.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, we are getting ready to wrap up, though. How do you like?
Hey, yeah,
Alfred Collins from Texas.
Hold on. Someone just had a fantastic chat. They said put Tyler Warren in at linebacker. Yeah, if Tremaine Edmonds is not gonna work out, just have him be a gadget. Oh, our kicker can't kick past 50 yards. If we got a 55-yard kick, let's just put in Tyler Warren.
Hey, Mikey has a real question. If we don't get Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, or Mason Graham, this is what I've said all along. Alfred Collins was a player that last year was predicted to be, after the season before last year, was predicted to be a fifth, sixth rounder in the draft. Because of how well he did this last year, Alfred Collins has skyrocketed up to the second, third round. Definitely day 2 pick. The Bears met with Alfred Collins at the Combine. I like Alfred Collins a lot. If we don't take one of the main 3 in the first round, I'm all in on Alfred Collins on day 2 later on.
Yeah, because he's definitely like your rotational piece to Andrew Billings, stop the run. So that'd be great. In the later rounds, whether that's is Alfred Collins a guy you're talking about at 39 or 41?
I think he could be. I think that's a little high for him, but I don't think the Bears are past doing that.
If a guy like that falls to 72, that sounds perfect.
Dude, I think he's going to be, where was he predicted to go? Right now, he's predicted to go somewhere in the 50s. So if you're taking him at 41, it's not that far off from where he was. So let me pull this up real quick. We like to do this. We like to party. All right, so here is Alfred Collins. Here's what you want to see on him. So he's 320. So he is that big guy. He could be that nose tackle. You can see his grades for the year, 89 defensive grade. His run defensive grade is what I really like. Low missed tackle rate. Not your pressure guy, though. He's not going to get your sacks. So only 15 total pressures on 234 opportunities.
He's a run stuffer.
He's gonna rotate in with Andrew Billings, be your run stuffer, clog the holes, get guys to double team him and allow the other guys to get the pressure. So I don't like him in the first round. I barely like him in the second round. But if we could somehow get an extra pick, say we trade with Seattle and get 51, I would be very happy taking him at 51. That'd be 18 and 51 for number 10. That's the pick that Seattle has is 51. I'd be very happy taking him at 51.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other good questions to see before we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Big news. Big news. We signed Case Keenum. We also signed, where's the other ones? The other 2 we signed were Sean Wade, defensive back, and Miles Boykin, wide receiver. So we had 3 signings today. That's the highlight of the day. Other than that, Karl and I just having a good time tonight. Me giving Karl a bunch of crap because he's tired and it's a lot of fun. And we're going to take Tyler Warren for sure. Definitely going to take Tyler Warren in this draft. He wasn't even paying attention. I took you off screen and you didn't even notice.
Yeah. I don't know.
Guys, are you going to be able to handle Bears Country Productions tonight, Karl?
If I'm there, it's to be determined, but I should be. We'll see, but yeah, I'll be able to handle it.
Look at Sam L. Look at Sam coming in last second. Case Keenum signing is a dead giveaway. They're drafting Ollie Gordon. Buckle up, folks. Hey, we got to go here just so people can see. Let's go here to Ollie Gordon. I did my player profile on Ollie Gordon, just so you know. I don't know if you saw that one or not, Karl.
I have not, but I made a tweet that you interacted with. Essentially, if we're going to strike out in the running back department, where I think this is a real possibility, right? Don't want the Bears to go running back at 10. I think it'd be silly. Then Omarion Hampton gets overdrafted. Travion Henderson gets overdrafted. Now the Raiders are looking at a running back. The Raiders would have taken, I guess, Genty at 6 in this scenario, but maybe not, right? Maybe something weird happens and the Raiders take Judkins at 37, right? Now you're really struck out on actual running backs that are going to help your football team and you have to go the economical route. Give me Ollie Gordon. If there's a running back coach in the NFL who could get anything out of Ollie Gordon, who was apparently the best running back in college in 2023, that's Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy would be able to get that out of him, and if that's what you're pigeonholed into, do it. It'd be awesome.
Is that what you learned from my video? That's the only thing you took away? Who's the best running back in 2023?
Apparently, he had fantastic stats. I mean, if Sam L. is going out of his way over these last 2 months to praise his love for the guy, you got to give him an honest look.
Yeah, Ollie Gordon, one of the best running backs in all the league last year, 2023. He led the nation with 1,580 yards, 6.4 yards per attempt. You can see 189 attempts this year, much fewer yards, mostly team decline there at Oklahoma State is the big reason for that. But not good yards per attempt after contact. You can see his breakaway yards were not phenomenal this year after last year. So there's going to be some concerns. I think most of those are issues with the line, but there's some good product there from prior year with Ollie Gordon. It'll be interesting to see who drafts him.
Yeah, my fear with Ollie Gordon, like I said earlier today, is just why are we going through the vicious cycle of redrafting Roschon Johnson, right? Just a battering ram who could end up being damaged goods and never get a second contract from us. Like, it's not the most inspiring move, is what I'm trying to say. But give him a shot if that is what has to happen.
Now, I just got to go here, just in case the Bears' local Western Regional Scout is watching. I got to go here and show you Kylan James, guys. Kylan James. Yards per attempt, 6.6, right up there with Ashton Genty. Now, this is only the season. Let's go regular and post. That's what they go off of. 6 foot, 225 pounds, 4.45 speed, so he's phenomenal. 7.4 yards per attempt, right up there with Ashton Genty. 5.1 yards after contact, right up there with Ashton Genty. Both from the Mountain West Conference. Makes you really wonder, does it have something to do with the Mountain West Conference competition, or is Kylan James just that good of a freak athlete? 61.2% breakaway yard percentage, better than Ashton Genty. In fact, out of those in this draft class, that's the number one in the entire nation right there, 61.2%. And 198.4 elusiveness grade, second behind, you guessed it, only Ashton Genty. So is Kylan James a freak hidden gem out of the Mountain West Conference, or is the Mountain West Conference just a little weaker competition? Not sure. We'll find out.
Adam, not to rush you, I've got someone asking to call me.
We're heading out of here. We're heading out of here, Karl. Give us your final words. We love you.
I've said I hope that I have explained this to chat the entire 2 months I've been on Adam Mason's Bear Down Sports channel. Thank you guys for putting up for me. I appreciate your guys' time and investment into us. It is very humbling. So thank you guys so very much for listening to us, to listening to me spout off, ramble, all that good stuff. You guys are fantastic. I push for this show to be live because I think that's what makes it the most fun. It's the best to have the live audience interact. Nothing predetermined. Adam and I didn't hardly do any prep work for this. It's just a lot of fun. I won't speak for Adam. I did not do any prep work. Adam, of course, does a lot of prep work.
Mostly just graphics.
Right, but a lot of time invested. Relentless Mikey, if you could forever give me, I apologize, but it's the mental state. I apologize.
Karl needs a Ghost energy drink. Hey, Karl, I do appreciate you coming on. We've done this for 9 weeks now. Next week will be 10, and then 11th is the final one, and then we're headed to the draft right after that. We'll see what coordination we do with you. I still need to meet Nick. Nick from Thy Smi. We need to collaborate somehow.
Yeah,
he's a new father.
Ebbs and flows. Yeah, it almost sounded like he was back on track. He had some stuff lined up, and I was really gunning for him to just be a mainstay on Saturday, and then it just didn't happen. So it'll happen one day, but again, you would know a lot better than me. These things take time to adjust.
Thus is the battle of, balancing life and balancing streaming and being a content creator. I started this thing in December. It didn't pick up till January, February, but then it really took off after that, a year, and we're almost a year and a half into this now for my channel. So pretty wild. I want to thank every one of you guys for being a part of it. You guys are awesome. Sam L., thank you for the super chat. You don't ever have to do that, but it is appreciated how you support the channel. You are probably the biggest supporter so far with your membership and with all the super chats. You've been huge for that, and I do appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. Don't ever feel like it does. I will try to push Ollie Gordon on draft night. If it comes between Ollie Gordon and Kylan James, I'll take Ollie Gordon just because of your support. And he's probably a better prospect anyways. But anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in. All the comments, we do appreciate them. We don't always see them, but we do appreciate them. Appreciate you guys. Till next time, the Bears. And
Bear Down Sports making Chicago proud.